Hey YouTube, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, and I wanted to give an update on the Suburban that I purchased. It's a little bit snowy out. Actually, it hasn't really started yet, but we're expecting a full day of it. We're getting some flurries for now, but I figured it was a good time to come outside and walk you through the Suburban and kind of what I've done. And so I picked this up. I think the last time I talked to you, I was probably just test driving it or driving it around, and I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've done so far. So the first thing I did was I went and had it serviced. I spent $288. I guess I'll talk about costs as I'm kind of going through it. But I spent $288 on it to get the engine oil changed and the transmission fluid replaced. The guy, I have a group that I trust that I always talk about to do that stuff, just because it's a pain for me to have to dispose of oil and get it in the shop and do all that stuff, and it's just a nuisance. But anyway, I do pay for that. I asked him about servicing the transmission, and he said, basically what he looks at is how burnt is the fluid that's in there. So he looked at it and he said the fluid looked really good in this, and so then he said, yeah, you can just change the fluid. If the fluid looks really burnt, then go ahead and pull the pan and change the filter and change the fluid. And so that was plan B if it wasn't something that could be done. He went ahead and did it, and then there was no issue. I mean, it continues to drive perfectly. And so I'm very happy about that. I plan to, kind of take care of the transmission and make sure that it lasts me as long as it can. It's only got 105,000 miles, so I have a feeling that, it will give me a long life. So they usually do a really good job of looking over the vehicle, and so they did. They looked over it, and I asked for their thumbs up or thumbs down on it. They gave me a thumbs up. There were, obviously down below there, they checked all the fluids in the front and rear differential, transfer case, transmission, and engine, and there were no leaks underneath the vehicle at all. The one thing they did note was that there was a coolant leak, and the coolant leak was coming from the radiator cap. And so, when he pulled it off and looked at it, it looked like the rubber seal was going on it. It wasn't something that was leaking real bad, but I went ahead and replaced the radiator cap on it with the same rating. Then the other thing he pointed out, which is something that I think is an ongoing issue with these vehicles, is this, and I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but this heater hose that goes into the intake manifold has a quick disconnect on it. And what happens with those is that, I'm not even sure if you can see that, but what happens with those is they get corroded and they start to leak, and I think that may be, something that's might be going on with this one. Let's see if I can get in here. That's the air conditioning hook. Let me climb up there a little bit. This is something that I want to make sure that you can see. Try not to kill myself here. Shit. Yeah, right in there. That fitting right there. And so I've seen it can be a real nightmare. What happens is that it's made out of a really cheap pot metal, and that pot metal corrodes from the inside, and when you if you have to replace it, you go to take it off, it just breaks off. Then you end up having to buy a special kit with an easy out to get that out. It looks doable. I mean, it's something that can be done. So anyway, we'll see if that's an issue for me or not. It is leaking a little bit, and I got to step into that and see what that's doing. And then I think I replaced the battery on it, and that was pretty inexpensive. I think I paid $75 for that. It's like I'm going back through and realizing, I made a list of how much I've spent, and then I'm kind of remembering more expenses. But anyway, going back, I had it serviced. They pointed out those two leaks for me. I took care of the one, and I'm still going to monitor that one and see what it's doing. I did get it registered and insured. I got liability only insurance, so that was fine. Driving it, I was talking about how I had a little bit of a brake pulsation, And that seems to have gone away mostly. Probably will replace both front disc rotors because I'm going to have to do the brake pads anyway, and they're very inexpensive, and so I may do that. And I'll and the way I know is I did look over the brakes, and I'll insert some video of that here and probably talk over it. I took the opportunity to inspect the suspension while I was under there, and everything looks good under there. All the bushings look good. The drive axles look good. Everything was lubed, obviously, when I had it serviced. It's got Bilstein shocks on it, which are not leaking, so they seem to be in good shape. Yeah, so I'm pretty happy looking under here. As I looked at the pads, they look like some of them were in pretty good shape. Some were a little more worn than others, and so I think a little bit of lubrication is in order needed there. But it's a good idea to change them anyway. They do crack over time. The pads do. You can see the factory marks on the lug nuts there. But what I did learn by taking it to get the tires balanced is that I'm going to need new tires. And I guess the reason is, and I don't know if this outside tread seems to have some cracking down this area. I'm going to try to see if I can get in here and you can see anything. It's really hard to see, but I saw some cracking along this outside groove on all 4 tires, and I didn't like that. They're actually in really good shape otherwise, and the code date on them is actually 2018, so they're not even that old. But I went ahead and looked at tires, and I finally just said, you know what, I'm probably going to keep this for a bit. I'm going to go ahead and get some tires on it. The investment continues to pile up, but that's okay. And so then yesterday I came out here and started cleaning it out. There was, obviously this was a family car, and there was quite a bit of family stuff in it, crayons and wrappers and all kinds of stuff. And I went ahead and took the rear seat out, the rearmost seat, and you can see the amount of space in this thing. It's freaking massive. And so one of the things that I'm thinking about is maybe using this as a overlanding vehicle. I don't know. My wife and I do a lot of traveling. We do that in our Honda Element over there, and we have a platform for it. And I think this could actually be used even without a platform, or I could make a platform. But I think I'm not sure. I'll have to figure that out. But let's look at the rear seat. I went ahead and was able to fold that one down, but for some reason this one seems to be not folding all the way down, and so I've got to either lubricate something or figure out what's actually hitting over here. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll look at the manual. But what I'm actually thinking about doing is just pulling these seats out completely. It will mean that I'll have to come up with some kind of a platform to put in here to prevent just that low spot. I think that's some really good storage down there, and so I may do that. Just make a platform that goes in here, pull these seats out, and then just have it as a 2-seater. Just do a little fire up on it. I fired it up one day when it was really cold, and the engine was ticking, and to me that's typically lifters. It was a lifter tick, and it eventually went away, but since then it has not done it again, and so that tells me that I might want to run something through it, because what happens is the lifters get buildup inside of them, and they don't get to pump up like they should. Cold start. And actually this thing is so smooth and quiet. It runs really well. When I was getting my tires balanced, I actually they damaged the vehicle. What happened was he had the jack under it. He had the jack under it right here, and when he lowered it, it caught the mirror, and it broke the mirror. And so they're buying me another mirror, which I was able to order for $50. And that's helpful because this mirror wasn't working. It was not adjusting. The other one works just fine, but for some reason this one wasn't adjusting, and so I was able to find another mirror with it's heated. It's a heated mirror as well as power mirror, and so that's something that I'll be taking care of probably next week. The other thing I wanted to talk about, I've driven it about 250 miles, and actually I just realized I might have left my notepad under the hood. Let me look. Oh no, there it is, over there. I've driven it about 250 miles, and I went ahead and I had filled it up shortly after getting it, and I was able to get 16.3 miles per gallon out of it, which is really good. Well, I think it's really good for what it is. It's a big, heavy machine, and so that's exciting. I mean, it's not perfect, and the driving I'm doing is kind of a mixture of highway and city, and but I'm being gentle with it. I'm kind of driving it like there's an egg under my foot, as a way to kind of preserve or try to maintain some kind of fuel mileage. So yeah, let's get out of the cold. So let's talk a little bit about what I've spent on that car. I spent $2,700 for the car, and then I spent $75 on a battery. I serviced it for $288. It was missing one of the wheel center caps, which I thought was kind of tacky, and so I picked one up for $20. The mirror, actually, I won't count that. Actually, I will count it because I'll get reimbursed for that later. But $49 for the mirror, and then the tires. I'll insert a picture of the tires that I'm going to get. And one of the reasons I'm getting them is because they're not an all-season tire, they're an all-weather tire, and this is something that if you live in a climate kind of like where I live, it's a good idea to have something that's going to get you good traction. And these tires have the 3-season snowflake symbol on the side, and that just tells you that those symbols are something that they only have, I think, on some roads during certain seasons. You can't get on that road without having the additional sights that you get from the traction for those. I've got them on not all my vehicles. I've got them on my daily drivers, and they cost about the same as other tires, but it's definitely good insurance. I've been in a few places with my wife's car where there was ice on the ground, and I was really impressed with how well they grab. And I've obviously researched this, and just if I'm out on the road and I'm having to travel, especially like between here and the house we have in Roswell, New Mexico, it can be pretty bad weather out there, and I want to make sure that I'm going to stay on the road and be able to stop if I see something that I need to stop for, and and I also want my wife to be able to do that. So anyway, yeah. So I found some all-weather tires, and I'll go ahead and have those installed. Typically what I do with tires is it's interesting because you can order almost anything from Walmart, and they must source them from somewhere else because they are able to get that stuff, and they have quite a selection, and you can shop for price. And so a lot of times what I'll do is if I have a vehicle and needs tires, I'll go there, I'll order them, I'll pick them up and take them down to my tire guy down in in Albuquerque. He's kind of a little mom and pop shop, only speaks Spanish, that kind of thing, but they can mount, balance, and get the stuff done for me. Or I'll sometimes just use Walmart, because then it's you pay one price and you kind of get it done, and you have the lifetime balance and everything else. But the best tire prices that I've ever gotten have been at Walmart. I don't like dealing with them. I think they're poorly run. When I have to interact with them, I'm constantly just critiquing how they do business, because I don't think they're efficient. I don't think the company I don't think there's excellence in the way they do things, and so I double check everything basically that they do for me. I think the last time I ordered tires for the Element, they sent 2 tires of one size and 2 tires of another, and got them all mounted up before they figured it out then had to go back and remount 2 of my tires until they could order the others. And during the whole time that I was driving it, while I was waiting for the other tires to come in, I could feel the ABS was kind of not happy. I think because of the difference in tire sizes, because one was worn and one was brand new. And so finally got that sorted out, and I'm glad I did, and it was fine. I survived it, obviously. So anyway, I was talking about the costs, and I've rambled off, but then I think I talked about tires at about $600. And so really, I think when you look at everything, it's probably going to be, I've probably got $3,700 in this car, which I think is worth it. I mean, it's a 105,000 mile Suburban. It's a GMT 400. It's a legendary vehicle for mileage. It's got some common issues that people deal with that are known, and they're fixable. And even, a lot of people look at the transmission and see it as a weakness, and I think that's probably accurate if it's not taken care of. And I think some of the ways that they fail is the primary way is that people tow with it, and when they tow, they put it in overdrive, and the overdrive clutches apparently are too small to haul a lot of weight, and so they will tear up, and then they will put a lot of shavings and clutch parts into the transmission, which will then get sucked up into all the solenoids and then end up causing a lot of issues. So that's one of the ways they fail, and because it runs well, I'm assuming that it has not had that happen to this one, and it has not towed that much, even though it has a trailer brake and everything else. When I looked at the RPO codes that are on the glove box, I found that it has a towing package, and it has a transmission cooler, and it has a lot of stuff in it for that. Anyway, so yeah, I don't think it's towed that way. And the other thing is just not having the fluid changed and letting the fluid just deteriorate to the point where it doesn't do its job anymore. And then obviously this one has not had that happen, as the fluid was still good at 105,000 miles. So I just wanted to give this update to you guys, and I appreciate you watching. This is fun for me, and I get to learn. Almost every vehicle I get, I immediately dive into research and learn as much as I can about it, and I've enjoyed driving it back and forth. It was about 2 days ago that I saw the cracks on those tires, and so since then I've become a little bit nervous about getting it out and going 75 on the highway or whatever. So once I get new tires on it, I think I'll feel a lot better, and then I'll feel good about being able to drive it wherever. It's got a full tank of gas now, and I take every opportunity I can to jump in it and go do some stuff. So thank you for watching, and thank you for your comments and your questions, and I appreciate you and your attention if you watched this long. If you want to continue to see more of this stuff, feel free to subscribe. I hope you like this. If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, thumbs it down, whatever. And then I'll continue to. I've got to do another video, I think, on that I'll be doing soon, and that'll be based on kind of my whole graph of reliability for used cars, and kind of the value and cost of them over time, and really I think that how do you find a car in the sweet spot? I know several people right now who are looking for used cars. It's like almost every time a kid graduates from high school or starts getting close, the parents start saying, well, I need something for them. They're going to be going to college and driving back and forth, and I need something reliable. And so I'll do a video on that, kind of the best skills that I have. I try not to get involved in buying cars for people because you just never know what's going to happen. But and you really can't thoroughly check something out for somebody else, but you can check something out to your own satisfaction, and then to your needs and the way that you're going to maintain it and use it. So all right, so with that, I'll let you go. Thank you so much. I appreciate again your watching. Go ahead.